Good day everyone. In this video guide, I shall be running us through how grievances can be created and managed on the PMIS. So this video will be divided into 5 different parts. The first segment, I shall talk about how grievances can be created through several means. I shall then move on to taking us through how these created grievances can be accessed through different access levels. I shall then show us how these grievances can be managed, being moved from one state to another or being moved from one user to another. I shall then move on to showing us how these different states can be accessed. And lastly, how Ward Facilitators can view their created grievances reports. So moving to the first part, grievances creation. So one of the ways grievances can be created on the PMIS is through the mobile application. So I am currently logged in as a Ward Facilitator from Ogun State or Deda local governments. So they have access, all Ward Facilitators have access to this grievance tool. So anytime the grievance tool is clicked, a unique reference is created for it, which is unique anytime you click on the button. You could then the Ward Facilitator can give the complainant this ID, which they can then use to track the state of this particular grievance. So the grievance form or the grievance tool has some logic tied to it. The last form on the field here, do you wish to remain anonymous? If yes, then the form can then be submitted without having to input these other personal details. But still, if no, you could still then go ahead to fill up the form without having to fill those fields too. So in as much as they still show, they are not compulsory. But I'm just going to pick this, leave this optional, leave all these optional and save. So this grievance has then been sent to the PMIS. So another way grievances can be created is through any of these 3 access levels: a federal person, a state person, an LGA person. So a federal user or a federal officer can create grievances also if they have access to this button by coming to FPCU e-tickets new grievance. The same logic on the mobile app applies here, just a different view. So a state person likewise can create a new grievance if they have access to it. It's SPCU e-tickets new grievance. Same for an LGA user, LGA e-tickets new grievance. And lastly, grievances can also be created on the PMIS through external sources aside the mobile app, through the help of the API. So with the help of the API, grievances can also be created from third-party applications like our website or any other third-party app. So under system settings, API documentation, widgets, there's a new grievance menu there. So by copying this code and pasting it on any part of our website, we will be able to see the grievance form and users will be able to fill it up. So this is how the form will look like wherever we want it to be, wherever we place it on our website. So I just mentioned 5 ways in which grievances can be created: through the mobile app by the Ward Facilitator, through a federal officer, through a state officer, through an LGA officer, and finally through the API from external sources. So as an exercise for this first part, you could try to create a grievance from any of these 5 means I have mentioned. Moving on to the second part, how we could view these created grievances based on different access levels. So I previously created a grievance from the mobile app through a Ward Facilitator. So I am currently logged in as an LGA user, as you can see on my screen here, local government supervisor. So anyone who has access to this all grievance button will be able to view grievances in his specified location. So as an LGA user, as an LGA supervisor logged in, he will be able to see grievances in his LGA. A state person likewise, I have a state user logged in also. A state person who has access to this all grievances button will be able to see all grievances in his state. Then a federal person will also be able to see all grievances on the entire PMIS, irrespective of the location they are tied to. So as an exercise for this part, try to access your created grievance on the PMIS through any of these 3 access levels. So this is how you access a grievance. And moving on to the third part, where you get to manage this created grievance. So I shall start from a local government point of view, a local government officer point of view. So like I said, I am currently logged in as a local government supervisor. So this is the grievance I created by this particular Ward Facilitator 4 minutes ago. So the first action I shall talk about is the assign functionality. So you could assign a grievance to another user. This assign functionality helps us to transfer a grievance to other users at the same level this currently logged in user is on. So as an LGA user, you can assign a grievance to another LGA user. As a state user, you can assign to another state user or the access level beneath that particular state user. So you could assign to a state user or to an LGA user. So the assign helps us to assign to your same level or the level below you. So that's what the assign functionality does. The second functionality is the escalate functionality. The escalate helps us to similar to the assign, helps us to transfer the grievance to the immediate level above the currently logged in user's level. So if you're a state user, you can escalate the grievance to a federal user. If you're an LGA user, you can escalate a grievance to a state user. I am going to escalate this to a state user which I have logged in. So I escalated this to Part 4 Echo, who, as we can see here, is a state officer. So this was initially 4, I would have shown us, but now this is 5 because this currently logged in user just received a new assigned grievance. So the third functionality or the third management action is the respond action. So the respond functionality helps whoever wants to respond to prepare a draft response for this particular grievance. So when you respond to a ticket, it leaves your bay, and whoever assigned the ticket would still have access to it. So the response functionality adds or attaches a response to the particular grievance. Finally, the close, the last action I shall talk about is the reply and close management action. So the reply and close helps whoever wants to close this ticket to put the ticket to a close and respond to it. So because I initially added a response, the reply and close includes that response in the final draft of the close. How this automated draft response is created is from the project settings. If you come to system settings, archives, data access, and search for project settings. If you search for ticket auto response, we'll see the response that is being automated anytime you want to close a ticket. So modifying this changes the content of this. So that's how we can close a ticket. So this are the various management actions we could perform on a particular grievance. So as an exercise for this session, you could try to manage this grievance amongst ourselves, assign it to someone, escalate it to another user, let the person know he or she sees it, then bring it to a close. So the fourth part of this grievance session is the grievance states. So under anyone who has access to any of these buttons, under the e-tickets menu, the grievance sub-main menu, we have 3 sub-menus under it. We have the open, in progress, and close. The open button shows us grievances that are either in the opened state or in the reopened state. The in progress sub-menu shows us grievances that are either currently assigned or being returned or being responded to. And lastly, the closed button shows us tickets or grievances that have either been closed or are being cancelled. So that's how we could access that's what these 3 buttons, those are the various groups they hold. It's also worth mentioning these buttons are also tied to access controls. Whoever has access to this button, that's when they'll be able to see all these I'm explaining. Then finally, the Ward Facilitator grievance report. So I recently closed that particular grievance I was on. So when a Ward Facilitator refreshes, within a 30 days span, they will be able to see grievances that have been resolved. By resolved, either being closed or being cancelled. So grievances within the last 30 days that are either being closed or being cancelled, they will be able to see it. So this was the grievance I just created in this video, and this was the response, and so on. We could also manage the timeline, that's the wait time to which these grievances are being showed. We could set it from project settings also. This time general settings, tickets, general settings. Okay, mobile GRM check time. So this is currently set to 30 days. So grievances within the last 30 days is what we'll show here. This brings me to the end of this video guide. We can all try out all these functionalities and explore new functionalities, such as the reopened and many others. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.